Sweet. Okay, so I'm going to share screen. Basically, for people who don't know, script coverage is like what they have you do when you are like maybe a development intern, development assistant, which basically like in that situation, a bunch of scripts will come across your boss's desk that they don't necessarily have time to read, but are obligated to respond to. So your job is to read it on behalf of your boss slash team and kind of report back by sending them like a document that's like, this is what the script was about. And then more importantly, like, was it good? Was it like not worth their time? And so you usually act as like the first eyes. And if you think the script is really good, then they will probably take the time to read it. If you're like, this is garbage, don't waste your time, they won't read it, but they will read your summary of the script so that they can go back to the agent or whoever sent the submission and say like, oh, I really liked, basically like make up a BS answer. Like, I liked this aspect of the story, pretending they read it, but ultimately we're passing on it because of this reason. So yeah, you guys might have like applied to jobs before where they asked for sample coverage to see like your style and how you do it. And I'm here today to kind of show you what they are looking for. Let me share screen. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. So this is sample coverage that I did for, I don't remember what, like a long time ago. And I chose Coco since I really like that movie. Hopefully people here have seen Coco, or else this presentation might not make very much sense. But I'm assuming since we all love animation, a good number of you probably have seen Coco. So usually what I do is I will make a header that's like the title of the script in all caps. That's like an industry thing that I can't explain to you, but project titles are always like in all caps for some reason. And then I'll write the writers of the script, because sometimes submissions are more about the writer than they are about the project. Like it could be someone submitting a writing sample that's not necessarily like, do you want to make this project, but more like, do you want to hire me to write on one of your other projects? It's good to like know the distinction of what you're reading something for, because if it's like a submission for a project, then you should be paying attention to like, if this project fits into our slate, if this project is like something we would want to help continue develop, that type of thing, versus if it's just a submission for like, if it's just like the writer's sample, they want to be considered to write like a project that you already have, then you're really looking for like, what is their writing style? Like, are they strong in dialogue? Are they good at like high drama? Like what genres do they tend to excel in? Stuff like that. So for this, let's just say that Coco was submitted as a potential project. So I would write Coco, the writer's names, and then I put a note here that since this was sample coverage, that just said, I chose to do a log line and a one-page synopsis, but I can also do one paragraph summaries. It's good when you're like submitting sample coverage to like show the array of different things you're able to do, basically. If you're just writing coverage like at work, then you can just ask your boss, like, do you want a log line? Do you want a summary? Do you want a full synopsis? Like, what's the deal? But let's start with log line. So a log line is like basically a 1 or 2 sentence summary of the movie. In a logline, you don't really need to like explain the details of like what ends up happening in the movie. But I'll just like read this one and then kind of break it down for you guys. So for Coco, a young boy ventures out to chase his dreams of becoming a famous musician despite his family's strong disapproval. However, when things go awry, he instead finds himself trapped in the spirit world with his ancestors, where he must confront the conflict between his passion for music and his complex family history. So that's just kind of like the basics of what Coco is about. But to break it down, what I usually like to do is start out establishing who is the protagonist. So in this, it's a young boy. And then the second thing I want to make sure is clear in this is like, what is the protagonist's drive? Like, what are their goals in the story? So here I say he's venturing out to chase his dreams of becoming a famous musician. That's kind of like Miguel's drive when we first meet him, right? Like that's his main character trait, is that he like wants to be a famous musician. But then you also want to like set up what is the conflict of this story, like, because it's not really a movie, right? If it's just like a young boy wants to become a famous musician, like there's no conflict there. So then I write, despite his family's strong disapproval, kind of just like find a concise way to establish main character, drive, and what is the initial conflict set up at the beginning of the story. And then in a log line, you generally like don't need to give away what happens in the end. So I kind of just write a hint of like the events that take place in Act 2 and 3. So that's just this, like when things go awry, you don't need to be like very specific, but it's pretty important for Coco, right, to point out that he finds himself trapped in the spirit world with his ancestors. That's kind of like the inciting incident of the movie. And this also is where I like establish the main location that the whole film takes place in is the spirit world. And then what's the conflict in Act 2 and 3 is that he has to confront the conflict between his passion for music and his family history. In the movie, his ancestors and family in general like don't want him to be a musician, and that's kind of like where the main conflict comes from in Act 2 and 3 as well, is that he's trying to get back to the land of the living, but his family won't send him back if he's gonna pursue music. So yeah, that's just like, I kind of squeezed this one into one sentence when I feel like I cheated with a semicolon. It really should be two. Generally, they like a log line to be just one sentence long, but it is an art to being concise. So then I didn't do a one paragraph summary here, but for that, I would pretty much follow the same thing that I would to make a log line, but you can just flesh it out a little bit more. Then if you're doing like a whole page synopsis, that is where you can get like really fleshed out. So we'll go through here, but what I basically do is try to divide like the Act 1, 2, and 3 into paragraphs. So it's kind of important for if you're going to work in development, or if you want to be a writer or anything like that, it's really important to understand like structure, because that'll help you a lot when you're trying to like abbreviate these things. So here's my synopsis of Act 1 of Coco. 12-year-old Miguel Rivera. So that's like a little bit more specific than what I said here, just a young boy. But here you can be like really specific because you have the room on the paper. But 12-year-old Miguel Rivera has always dreamt of becoming a famous musician like his idol Ernesto de la Cruz. So you want to kind of like throw out, like establish who are the main players in this story kind of early on. However, his family has a complicated relationship with music. Miguel's great aunt, or not great aunt, sorry, Miguel's great great grandfather abandoned the family to pursue his dreams of becoming a musician, and the Rivera family still holds a grudge. As a result, music is banned from Miguel's household. This does not stop Miguel from chasing his dream. When he finds out there's a talent show in his town for Dia de los Muertos, he scrambles to find an instrument so he can perform and be discovered. When no one will lend him an instrument, he resorts to breaking into the tomb of Ernesto de la Cruz, who we mentioned earlier, so we don't need to explain that here, to steal his iconic guitar. However, stealing from the dead puts a curse on Miguel, causing him to be stuck in the spirit world until a family member in the spirit world sends him back to the land of the living. The caveat is that if no one sends Miguel back by sunrise, he will disappear forever. So this is kind of just like basically saying beat for beat what happens in Act 1 of Coco. Generally, you'll find when you're first like trying to write a synopsis like this, well, first of all, what I like to do is like read the entire script before and then just like write down what I like remember as the synopsis, but then like look back for details, because I find that if you're writing it like as you're reading, you'll include so many details that don't end up like mattering that much. If you think about like what actually happens in Act 1 of Coco, I like left a lot of details out, but it's stuff that like you don't need to know for like the main theme of the story. For example, I don't think they have this in Coco, but if there are any like B storylines or stuff like that, I usually don't like incorporate everything that happens in the B storyline until it like matters or intersects with like the main theme of the story. Or like in Coco, Miguel, there's like a whole scene where he's like watching Ernesto de la Cruz on his TV. He has a dog, like the families make shoes. Like I didn't really mention any of those details for the sake of brevity, even though obviously those are all like make big contributions to the story. But if you want those details, then your boss should just read the full script. So now getting into Act 2. So in this first paragraph, it's like establishing the world and then setting up like what's about to happen, right? Like the inciting incident. And he's like, okay, now he's stuck in the spirit world. He's in a pickle. Then, okay, let's move on to the second paragraph, which is like Act 2. Miguel's great great grandma Imelda uses the situation to pose an ultimatum. She will send Miguel back to the land of the living so long as he never plays music again. So immediately in this first sentence, just like setting up, this is like the main conflict of the story, like what he needs to resolve to like achieve his goal. Unsatisfied with this deal, Miguel decides to instead embark on a journey to find Ernesto de la Cruz, who he suspects may be his great-great-grandfather, and could send Miguel back without forcing him to give up music forever. So conflict, then his goal for this act is to find Ernesto de la Cruz, right? And then along the way, he meets a skeleton named Hector, who explains to Miguel that spirits fade away in the spirit world once they are forgotten in the land of the living. So this, like in the movie, was a whole long scene where they like go and visit Hector's like ailing friend and like see him disappear, which is like a very effective way to explain the rules of the world in the movie, but is not something you need to necessarily spell out when you're trying to give like a brief synopsis. But do explain like the backstory of this major character. Hector is at risk of fading away. So that's why they strike up a deal. Hector will help Miguel to find Ernesto if Miguel agrees to put Hector's picture on his ofrenda so that he can cross into the land of the living and be remembered so that he won't die. So it's important to include stuff like that because it establishes like the rules of the world and the stakes for these characters. So then we'll move on. the two of them form a plan to perform at a talent show where the winner is invited to Ernesto's party for Dia de los Muertos. But in the middle of their performance, Miguel spots his family looking for him and dashes away. I included that part because that's like how Miguel and Hector get separated. And it kind of just like drives the plot further. It's like any like major moment that's gonna push the plot forward is like something you should mention in the most concise way possible, I would say. So they both find their way into Ernesto's party where Miguel reunites with Ernesto, who is thrilled to have found his great-great-grandson. The two of them enjoy a beautiful reunion before being interrupted by Hector, who reveals that he, in fact, wrote all of the songs that made Ernesto famous. Ernesto never gave due credit, which is why Hector is now being forgotten. It is revealed that Ernesto murdered Hector in order to steal his music. Ernesto, concerned that his secret will make it back to the land of the living, throws both Hector and Miguel into a sinkhole. So again, kind of like only mentioning things that are integral to the plot, and kind of like pointing out. I like to use language when there's like a reveal. Like I'll point out like it's revealed here, or like we find out, so that you kind of like, I don't know, that's just me. It feels like it makes you feel like you're watching the movie more when you're like, this is how I'm meant to feel in this part. So then Act 3. While in the sinkhole together, Hector mentions his daughter Coco, and Miguel suddenly pieces together that his great-grandma Coco is Hector's daughter. Ernesto was never his great-great-grandpa all along. It was Hector. This part, I feel, I'll give notes to myself, I feel like could use a little work when I write Imelda comes to the rescue. I'm not sure if I established her enough in this part to warrant just like mentioning her willy-nilly without explaining who she is again. So that's something to be cognizant of, is like the person reading this has no idea, like they've never seen Coco. So they should be able to read the whole thing and follow without having to go back and be like, wait, who's Imelda again? So that's something to keep in mind. But Imelda saves Hector and Miguel from the sinkhole on her flying alebrije. Miguel needs to get back to the land of the living, but not without Hector's photo, or else Hector will be forgotten and fade away. The family tracks down Ernesto to get the photo back. In the process, exposes him as a fraud to the entire spirit world. However, Hector's photo is lost, and Miguel must return without it. So here, like those sentences I just read is kind of just like staging out beat by beat, like the main climax of Act 3, which is definitely like the main important part to point out. I would say that Act 1 and Act 3, like the paragraph should be a little more fleshed out. Act 2 is generally where just like a bunch of shit happens that you don't need to necessarily point out. Like if you remember, they meet like Frida Kahlo here, like Miguel gets a disguise, like there's all these kinds of events that take place that I didn't really mention at all because it's just like ancillary things in the plot. And then of course it like ties into the whole larger movie, but if you're trying to be really brief like this and trying to fit it all into one page, like those are the kinds of details that you can feel free to leave out here. So then this is like the resolution bit. When Miguel returns to the land of the living, he sings to his great-grandma Coco the song Hector wrote for her. It jogs her memory and she remembers her father. She passes down stories about him to the family and recovers a photo of him to put on their ofrenda so that he will not be forgotten. A year later, on Dia de los Muertos, Hector and Imelda visit the land of the living together, and the entire family is all brought together by memory and music. So I like to be a little more like, add a little more emotional flair, like for the resolution, especially for like animated movies like this. It just again like gives a little bit of the like feel what you're supposed to feel at this part. of the movie. So yeah, that's kind of like the synopsis logline bit of it. Lots of details, lots of like side characters that you can leave out. I don't think I ever mentioned the dog here. I definitely didn't mention all the other like aunts and uncles in the family or anything like that. You should really just focus on like staying with your protagonist and like making their arc very clear in this. But let's get into the fun part. Then generally you'll be asked to provide comments of like your own opinion on the script you just read. Because like I said, if it's really amazing and you're like, this script is awesome, you should read it. Like your boss will probably read it and then decide for themselves like what they want to do about it. But if you read it and you're like, this was just hard to follow and like not very good, then you can pass. And usually at the very end of your comments, you can write in all caps like your suggestion, like you should pass on this. I recommend this, like consider this, it was okay, stuff like that. It usually goes like pass, consider, recommend, strongly recommend, or strongly consider. I don't remember the exact vocabulary, but if they have like specific preferences, they will let you know that. But how I usually phrase my comments, spoiler alert, I love Coco. I think it's a great movie, and that's why I picked it to do sample coverage. But I'll usually start out with like just one sentence or paragraph that's just generally what I liked about it. So I wrote, this script is incredibly strong in plot, dialogue, and structure, but what truly sets it apart is the character development, the core relationship, and the expansive world building that sets the stage for an imaginative story with very high stakes. So key words here are character development, core relationship, world building, and high stakes. Those are like the things I'm pointing out that I'm going to like elaborate more on, that I thought were like the strongest pieces of this particular project. So think of this as like a topic sentence or a thesis. It's just laying out like, this is everything I'm going to talk about. And then I will elaborate on those things. So for this paragraph, I chose to elaborate on character development and core relationship. So I write, the protagonist of the story, Miguel, is very fleshed out and relatable. His dialogue is endearing and sounds like a true 12-year-old kid. He has a very honest conflict inside of him, like you can emotionally relate between his devotion to his family and his passion for music. Then I get into the core relationship of the story, which is between Miguel and Hector, right? So Miguel's relationship with Hector is developed very well through some incredibly heartfelt and sometimes sad moments mixed with the funny banter between the two that establishes their newfound friendship very well. So you want to kind of be specific in this, like don't just say like, oh, I thought their relationship was like really good. Like explain why you thought that. I thought because they had like emotional moments together, but also their like dialogue and banter between the two of them was really fun. And then I just write that all of that like builds up to finding out that they're related. And that build up of the relationship makes that moment really emotionally satisfying. So those are all positive things that I liked. Then in the second or the third paragraph, I should say, I talk about the other things I liked, which is the world building and the stakes, which are kind of connected, right? So I write, the world building in this script is unlike any other. It's able to create a completely imagined world from scratch, which is true. That's like they kind of like made up or imagined like what the land of the dead really would be like, while including cultural details that bring the holiday to life. But then I also made a note that the world itself comes with rules that are super well established from the start and crucial to the stakes of the plot. These stakes created by the rules of the spirit world are very high and at the same time work as a beautiful way to illustrate the concept of being forgotten after death. So I'm kind of explaining like why the world building works is because it establishes these stakes from the start, right? Like you find out the stakes of like how the world makes it so that Miguel has to go back or else he'll disappear, that Hector has to have his photo on the ofrenda and be remembered or else he's going to be forgotten and perish. So it's not just like, oh, the world, like obviously if you're reading a script, you're not going to be like, the world is amazing, like it's so beautiful, like you can't see anything. It's like, what does the world establish that makes it like work plot wise, story wise? And then I just do a little like concluding part. The script stands apart by drawing audiences to this family story, covers human themes about what gets passed down through generations and what is forgotten. And it also teaches us to celebrate cultural heritage, but utilizes this like specific Mexican holiday to tell a story that anyone can relate to. So this is just me, but I like to make a note of like the, I guess, like cultural societal impact as well that I feel like the project might have if it's a project you're thinking of taking on, because that's obviously an important thing to consider. And then, like I said, just in all caps at the end, like what would your recommendation be to your boss if like this was your decision? Like, would you say yes to this project? Would you pass on it? If they don't have time to read everything, they'll just read if they should pass or consider on it. But yeah, that's generally how I do coverage. Does anyone have any like questions, or if you are like applying to something right now and need advice for anything, feel free.
Hi, Olivia. I had a question.
Well,
Hey, would you always give a sample of work that you like love, or is it better to have something else?
I think generally, in my experience, usually when you have to do sample coverage, it's not like they're like, just cover anything that's out there and send it to us. That happened to me like for one internship. I don't even remember what it was. It was probably not even paid. But usually what will happen is they will send you a script that they have for some reason or another and ask you to do coverage on like that specific script. That's how it's worked for me at like several internship applications. And then it's kind of more of a test, right? Because you're like, well, I don't know how they feel about this script, and I think that's what the idea is like they'll send you either a script that they like are developing and see if you like vibe with it and understand their style, or they'll send you a script that they think is terrible and like it's a test, like can this person catch all of the reasons why we don't like this and why it's not working. So yeah, generally they'll send you something, but if they don't, my advice would be, it doesn't necessarily have to be something that you're in love with like I did with Coco, but just like a story that you know very well will like give you the upper hand, because obviously you have to like write a pretty detailed like synopsis and like understand the structure of this story and like the protagonist's journey and what happens in order to like get it out on the page like that. Which is why I chose Coco, because I'm like, I've seen that movie a bunch of times. I could probably do it pretty well with Moana too. And it's just like, it just makes it easier for you if it's like a movie that you've seen a lot.
Gotcha. Great. Thank you. Yeah. The what are they called? The festivals that I read for, they all gave me scripts to read. So I was wondering about that as well. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, usually they do. Just because that's probably a more effective way for them to like judge as well. Yeah. Any other questions?
Hey Olivia, thanks for doing this. Just out of curiosity, what percentage of scripts that you like get would you pass on versus like consider versus like strongly consider?
Oh, that's a good question. I couldn't give you like a number, but it's very rare to find one that's a strongly consider. I'll say that. Um, and it's kind of like, I don't know, my job now is more me like going after specific writers than just being like blindly sent submissions and like reading it with no prior context. So there is that kind of layer of like, obviously, if I'm going after writers from a room that I know that I like the show, like I'm pretty confident that their scripts are going to be good. Versus like when you're an intern, they kind of just give you all of the like random submissions that need to be read, but no one has time to read. And so in that instance, you're really like more looking for diamonds in the rough. And it depends on your studio or production company or whatever that you're working at too, because like when I was interning at a production company for Janet Yang, who was like the producer of Joy Luck Club and Over the Moon, it's like she only does Asian projects and is only sent Asian projects, but she doesn't have like very specific branding beyond that. So she's down for like whatever genres, like whatever themes, as long as it's like an Asian centered story. So for that, there were a lot more that I was like, I'll consider this because it's like a cool idea. Versus now I'm at Skydance, and we have very specific like branding, I guess, or just like studio philosophy or like a common thread through all our projects that they have to meet like very specific criteria. So at a place like that, or more like Disney or Pixar, where it's like, you know, all the projects are kind of similar in theme and tone, that is a lot harder to find something that would be a strongly consider, because it's like, what are the odds that it's going to, that like this project that comes across your desk is gonna meet all of this like very specific criteria and studio philosophy.
That's super insightful. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Anyone else?
Hi, Olivia.
Hi.
How long does it usually take you to do like coverage for a feature script? Or I guess like what I'm trying to ask is if you like do coverage in one sitting.
I usually do it in one sitting, but it can take quite a while. I think if you get a development internship where your main job is to do coverage, they generally would expect you to be able to get through like 2 or 3 a day. It also depends if it's TV or feature, right? That you're reading, which, like I said before, sometimes you're reading for like writing samples versus potential projects. In which case, like you might be only developing features, but someone sends you a TV script because that's where their experience is. So I would say for like features, maybe like 2 in an 8-hour workday, given that you're like taking breaks and like doing some other stuff too. For TV, maybe like 3 or 4 a day would be the expectation. But yeah, once, I think it takes a really long time, like the first couple of times you do it, because you're kind of just like being really precious with it. Once you like get the hang of it, it doesn't take very long then, because you know you have to like read the whole thing first, which takes a while in and of itself. But once you're like used to reading things and then thinking about it that way, like it's pretty easy to get it out on the page.
Yeah.
I just saw the chat, but oh, Joshua put a bunch of stuff in the chat. Yeah.
Hi, I have a question.
Hi. What's your
Hi,
question?
So you mentioned that there are internships for these kinds of things. What do you say is something that they look for in an applicant that will be assigned to do this kind of work?
Yeah. So this job would be like a development internship mostly, and you can find those at like studios or production companies, or I mean, I guess that's it. But yeah, studios and production companies, anyone who's like hiring writers to write projects. Um, and I would say for internships, like your experience is not that, like, you can twist whatever experience you have to like fit what you want to do, is what I always think. But generally people who do development internships usually have like some experience in like creative writing or an interest in writing, interest in film and TV, and like just someone who knows like what's going on in the industry. Like if you interview for it and like if you apply and then get an interview, they might ask you questions like, what are you watching lately? And just kind of like test if you're up to date with like current events in the entertainment industry, like that Coda just won Best Picture and Screenplay, or like the new season of Bridgerton just came out, and just like stuff like that. But really, like anyone can do it. But I would say that the people that would probably stand out to them would be people with like a demonstrated interest in film, TV, writing.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Anyone else? And yeah, Lexi's right that our development internship at Skydance is more research focused than focused on coverage. But when I was a development intern at Skydance, I did have to do a lot of coverage. And sometimes it's not just on scripts either. People will send you like books. You have to decide, like, do we want to adapt this book into an animated movie? And then you have to like read a whole book and summarize that, which is a lot harder.
What would you say are the major differences when you're doing a book?
That's a good question. So this is like, some people might disagree, but I think that you should always keep it to 1 page max, like whatever your summary or synopsis is. Just because execs like won't read something that's too long. So I would say there's not really that much difference, except that like a book is obviously longer, and so you might have to be even more like brief and concise with, and like leave out even more details. But I would still like read the whole book, write down like the plot as you remember it, and then just go back in to flesh it out with like details that you couldn't remember off the top of your head. And obviously books don't have the same like 3-act structure, so it's a little more of a challenge.
Here's a weird question. Have you ever seen a really difficult subject, I guess, told eloquently in a way that can be inclusive and not taboo, like for instance, miscarriage? How would you, can you give me an example of how you would incorporate that specific topic or have seen that specific topic incorporated into a script eloquently and so that it's not such a like high taboo topic, or is that just totally off the table?
No, I think that's like a really good point that you bring up. The studio that I work at right now at Skydance, I think is like being really ambitious trying to achieve stuff like that. A huge philosophy that we have with like writing in general is just to try to like oh yeah, that's a good point, Celine. And in Up, how they almost kind of like hinted at her miscarriage, but it was
Yeah.
like, you know, it's happening. I was looking at it too. But yeah, and like Pixar obviously has the same philosophy where it's like kind of trying to touch on larger themes in a way that's like sends a message almost subtly, but isn't like in your face, like this is what this is about. Like a good example is like Zootopia, right? How or even Coco too, I guess, but I'll talk about Zootopia since we just spent like forever talking about Coco. But Zootopia, like at its core, is sending a message about like inherent bias and like racism in society, but it's like doing it through animals, so it's like kind of a correlation to like real life, and it's also like a comedy, so there are just things about it that like lighten it up and make it like a more digestible topic, especially for like family viewing. But if you like take a step back and see what the like themes are getting at, like it really is a story about like a bunny who's like overcoming her internal biases against predator animals. And I think a lot of like Disney and Pixar and soon Skydance movies kind of do the same thing. Like Coco does it with death. Like death can be a really like tough topic, especially for like an animated Pixar feature. But like Coco does a really great way of like illustrating it in like an inspirational, almost positive light. Inside Out is like another one. I feel like I'm just a walking advertisement for Pixar today, but Inside Out kind of explores like the inner workings of like an adolescent's brain and how people can like fall into depression. But it's all done in a way that's not like killing the mood or not something that people are going to be like, whoa, that's like way too heavy of a topic for like children to be seeing. But yeah, I think miscarriage would be like a really interesting theme to try to explore in animation through like a metaphor maybe, or just like, yeah, there are a lot of ways to just, that's the great thing about animation, is that there are a lot of ways to visually represent the themes that you want to explore without like being too on the nose.
Thank you.
Yeah. You should try writing a script about it.
Yeah, that's why I was asking about it. I'll ping you later on LinkedIn.
Cool. Does anyone else have any more questions? I think we have like a couple minutes left of this Zoom.
So if the development internship is like also focused on research, what does that mean? Like researching like through a story, but could you explain that in
Yeah.
more details?
So like at Skydance, a lot of our projects are rooted in like some kind of backstory, either like a real life location or a real life theme. Like let's like use the miscarriage thing as an example. Say we're trying to like make an animated movie about miscarriage and kind of explore those themes, but we want to do it really like authentically and from that perspective. So you might like have an intern go like research people who've had miscarriages and written about it, or people who like study like psychology of people who've been through a miscarriage and like what that does to the psychology of a family. And then it's actually really cool and fun. It's like you get to kind of research all of these things and sometimes even hire like consultants. When I was a development intern, I had to, they were doing this project that ended up getting scrapped, but one of the characters was going to be Japanese American, and it was taking place in Los Angeles. So I actually found a cultural consultant who works at the Asian American Studies department at UCLA and researches like Japanese communities in Los Angeles, to like bring her in so that we could like ask her any questions we had and just like talk about that experience. And you've probably also seen, interns don't get to do this, so I won't pretend that's the case, but you might have seen that at Disney and Pixar, sometimes they will go on like research trips. Like for Luca, they all got to go to Italy. Like, I'm so jealous. And for Moana, they went to like all these different Polynesian islands and just like interviewed people who are part of that culture, and just like observed and saw what life was like there. So like as an intern, you get to do kind of projects like that on a smaller scale. And it's just really important in order to build a movie that's like authentic to the theme or culture that you're trying to speak to. And like such a super important part of the development process. So it's like awesome that interns get to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're just about at time, but did anyone have like any last questions before we hop off? We'll let everyone just go enjoy your nights. It was great talking to all of you guys. And yeah, feel free to like connect with me on LinkedIn, or like if you're on our Discord, like message me anytime if you ever have any questions, if you're ever like applying to internships and need advice. I'm around.
Thank you, Olivia.
Yeah. Okay, have a great night, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Much.